for my first general warm up, I decided to do a jump rope for 5 minutes. During this time, I was able to start increasing my heart rate, being able to get ready for my plyometrics that I'd be performing, and any agility workouts that I will also be doing. My next general warm up that I'm going to be doing is high knees. I did this for about a minute. Same thing, I was able to increase my heart rate as well as focusing on landing on the balls of my feet. My third general warm up I decided to do were butt kicks. I was really focusing on making sure my heels were touching my glutes during this movement, as well as moving my arms to be able to move my legs fast enough. My first specific warm up were line jumps. I did it for a minute straight. For the first 30 seconds, I decided to do lateral jumps, and then the next 30 seconds, I decided to do a forward and backward jump. For my second specific warm up, I decided to do ankle hops for 1 minute. It was 2 feet landing, basically like a pogo stick jump. Now going into my last specific warm up, I decided to do a lateral leg bound. During this movement, I'm just really focusing on pushing on my left or right foot, being able to move laterally. For my first exercise, I decided with the Olympic lift clean variation as my first modality. Right now, I'm doing a muscle clean, which is very similar to a regular clean, but it involves a less of a leg drive. Now going into my second set, I decided to do a hang clean. So instead of starting the bar from the ground each time, I'm starting the bar right below my knees, which is considered the hang part of the clean. Now going into my third exercise, I'm doing the power clean. So each repetition I'm performing, the bar is going to start at the bottom, connecting to the ground. And during this movement, it's more of a almost of a squat compared to the hang clean, which is going to be a fourth of a squat. Now going into my second part modality of the Olympic clean, I decided to do a single arm clean with a dumbbell. During this movement, I'm really making sure that I'm starting at the bottom with my dumbbell touching the ground. And after 5, I switch to my other hand. Now going into my second set, I decided to do a double clean with 2 dumbbells. During this movement, it's very similar to the hang power clean. I'm just making sure I'm trying to have a nice drive and dip during this movement. My third set, I decided to do a dead start clean. So this is kind of more of a squat and having two of the dumbbells start each repetition at the ground compared to my last set, which we were just having the dumbbells at the knees for basically a clean or a hang clean. For my next modality, which is going to be lower body plyometrics, this first set is going to be a split squat. So during this movement, I'm doing a lunge basically, and I'm just continuously using my one leg, and then I'll switch to my other leg after 5. My second set is still going to be the split squat, but now this time we are doing an alternating split squat. So I'm just doing my left, my right, and just alternating them. For my third set of the alternating split squats, I decided to do a resisted one by using weight. Unfortunately, I did not have a weighted vest, so I just had to use dumbbells, which did kind of constrict my movement without having my arms. For my second lower body plyometrics, I decided to do depth jumps. With this first depth jump, I decided to add a freeze at the bottom each time to make sure that I'm landing in a proper athletic form. For my second modality, I decided with the duck jump to add a squat at the bottom and then jump vertically up, which will help me be able to contract my muscles to be able to do a fast twitch movement. Now going into my third set, I decided to do a dip jump into a 180-degree turn. With this jump, I'm still doing that fast switch movement, but instead of jumping vertically up, I'm doing the 180 turn. For my next modality, I decided to do an upper body plyometrics. This one, I am doing a two-hand overhead throw, which is being able to release the ball from over my head. For my second set, I decided to do the two-handed side-to-side throw, which it is kind of hard to see, but after each throw, I'm throwing from my right side of my head, and then after the next one, I am throwing it on the left side of my head. Now going into my third set, we are doing an alternating single arm throw. So basically very similar to the other ones. I'm alternating my arms with my right, and then after I throw, I'm going to be throwing with my left, which also will help with muscle imbalances. Now going into my second exercise, I decided to do a seated chest pass with a medicine ball. This is able to really focus on my upper body without having to focus on my lower body. Now going into my second set, we're doing a standing chest pass. This is we're incorporating our lower body, making sure that we have a proper head to toe placement and we're in a proper alignment each time we throw. For my third set, I decided to do a power drop. During this movement, my partner is standing up on a platform, then releasing the ball, and in return, I have to catch the ball and then throw it back up to her. For my next modality, we decided to do a resisted sprint exercises. For this first one, we have the resistant band wrapped around my abdomen, like torso area, and I am trying to do a sprint while my partner is using the resistance bands to slow me down. For my second set of the resistance bands, I'm using a single leg drive. The band is able to resist my leg drive for this left side and then being able to really focus on my drive. Now going into my third set, I decided to do a band and sprint. I have the resistance band tied to a pole and I am stretching the resistance band as far as possible to have a deeper stretch and being able to have a longer pull of the band. Now going into my second exercise, I decided to use sleds. For this one, I am doing a lateral pull. With this exercise, I'm focusing on being able to lean into the exercise on my left and right sides. And so not just focusing on a front and backwards resistance, but now we have a sideways resistance. Now going into my second exercise with the sled, I am doing a sled push. During this movement, I'm now focusing on that forward resistance to kind of drive past, to move the weight of the sled. Now going into my third exercise, I'm doing a lateral push. So for this movement right here, I'm leaning more into my left side of my body. Very similar to my first exercise with the lateral pulls, but kind of opposite. We're focusing on that forward resistance, but on a lateral focus on our body. And then this is me switching to my right side to have a focus on my right side. Now going into my next modality, I'm doing a closed agility drills. For this first exercise, I'm doing a deceleration, forward deceleration. So I'm doing a 3-step, and at that front cone is when I'm being able to decelerate, and then I switch from my right leg focusing to being able to decelerate on my left side. Now going into my second exercise, I'm doing a backwards deceleration. During this movement, we're really focusing so that if an athlete is backpedaling, they're able to stop their movement, decelerate, and then possibly change direction if they need to. Now going into my third exercise, I'm doing a lateral deceleration. I'm focusing on my one leg first, and then this is basically focusing on if a athlete is shuffling and they have to change direction and being able to stop if once they are going at such a top speed. Now going into my second exercise, I decided to do a 5 cone drill. For this first exercise, I am running from the center cone to the outer cones and then back into the center cone with a shuffle, with a lateral shuffle. Now going into my second exercise, I'm doing the same thing. I'm sprinting from the center cone, but now I'm backpedaling to the center cone. During this moment, it's just so that I am able to change direction from a sprint to a backpedal. Now going into my third exercise, I'm doing a sprint from the center cone to the outer cones and then back into the center. Each time trying to do a full out sprint and being able to change direction. Now going into my last modality, I'm doing the agility ladder for lower body agility. For this first one, I'm doing a 1 foot in. So each foot would go into each part of the ladder one at a time, basically a high knee. Now going into my second exercise, I'm doing 2 feet in. So in each square, I'm placing both of my feet in at the same time. Compared to the last one, I'm just doing 1 feet. This really focuses on having a fast footwork. Now going into my third one, third set, I'm doing a lateral quick step. Basically similar to the last one where both feet are going into each square of the ladder, but now we are moving laterally, so which is still focusing on that quick feet movement as well as being able having the person they can move left and right. Now going into my second exercise, we're doing in and outs. So my 2 feet are going inside the box and then having my feet go outwards as they move forward. Now going into my second set, this is going to be a lateral in and out similarly, but we're gonna have a single foot. So 1 foot is in and then 1 foot out, basically trailing each other outside of the ladder. For my third exercise, I'm doing a scissors kicks or like a scissor steps. Laterally during this movement, I'm making sure that I'm having a quick burst with both my feet being able to move at the same time in and out of the ladder. Now going into my cool down, I decided to do a light jog for 5 minutes to be able to kind of slow my heart rate down after the quick and power movements that I had done earlier. And after that, do a 5 minute walk to eventually slow my heart rate down. To finish off my cool downs, I decided to do some static stretches. I'm holding them between 30 seconds to a minute. I'm starting off with some toe touches, then I move on to a standing calf stretch. I go into a overhead tricep stretch, standing quads stretch, a standing pigeon. Then afterwards going into a downward dog while pedaling my feet. Then transitioning into a cat-cow, child's pose. Then I move into a forward lunge, into the hamstring stretch, and then eventually moving on to a lateral lunges and then a crossbody arm stretch to finish off my workout.